Last time on Final Fantasy III, we met the Dragon King Bahamut himself, and even worse, we met Desch as well. This time around, as the game ever so subtly hints, we may very well need that mini-spell that we got from Desch last time when we were in Bahamut's nest. Now, there is a little bit of a trick right here, but honestly it's not too terribly useful. I did try it out myself, but unless you're packing 4 white mages, which I wouldn't really advise, there's no point to it. First off, we're going to remove one of these spells here. Thankfully, that doesn't permanently get rid of it, which is a good idea. Thank you, Final Fantasy III. We can re-equip Poison later if need be. I mean, we do need that magic slot for the mini spell, but if you talk to that dude again, you can actually get another spell. We're just going to remove one from William. This is all temporary, of course, until I get 5 of these. But yeah, you can get as many mini spells as you need because it's required to move on in the game, so if you lost it and you had no other way of getting it, then progress would be impossible, so that would be fairly bad game design. And speaking of which, there's also a healing fountain here which will restore HP and MP, so of course you can't get stuck out here with no MP as well, which, again, very nice of them to do that. Now, that's pretty much all we can get here, because I'm not going to ditch any mini-spells. I mean, there's hardly any point of me doing that this time around, but yeah, it would be even more pointless to just get mini-spells forever, because really what would be the point? The thing is, they don't sell for much. If they did sell for something, then that would actually be a pretty good trick, but I don't remember how much they're actually worth, but it might even be 1 gil. Pretty sure it's less than 100 if I'm remembering correctly, and again, that's just off the top of my head. But anyway, now for my least favorite time of the game. It's time for us to mini. Or at least we will in a moment once we finish up with these mandrakes, which I have to admit I love the animation on these guys. They're kind of hilarious. Oh, Desch is here, I guess. In battle, Desch can either use his sword on a single enemy, or he has the Thundara spell, which is actually pretty good. Of course, Thundara hits all enemies, and it's a fairly powerful spell, so I will admit this, Desch is a good partner in battle. He's still a bit of an ass, though. Either way, those mandrakes are weak to fire, which is why I burnt them to death. Makes sense, right? Their attack power is also very low, for reasons which, I'll explain now. We have to mini at this point. That's not gonna quite come into play in terms of battle until we're done with this town, but, needless to say, I really hate these segments. And again, I'll explain more once it's relevant, but we are in a town right now, so I guess we should talk about this. In all fairness, I do like Tozas, and if Desch could stop talking, we could see a bit more of it. Of course, it's not the best looking thing, but Final Fantasy III DS really isn't a very good looking game. You can kinda tell it's early DS, and honestly, in general, DS didn't really have the best looking 3D games at times. I mean, better than Game Boy Advance by a long shot, but still, though, not the best looking. We also have a Moogle here for some reason. I don't know why he's tiny, but whatever, if he wants to follow us around for letters, I don't mind. So we'll send one to Sarah, and the last one on that list is Sid. Those are all our basic people we can send to. There are 2 people way later on in the game that we can send letters to, but it's going to be quite a while, and they're part of their own quest. I believe I mentioned that before, they're for the super boss. Well, I guess we're going to be talking to that guy, because I don't see any other ways out of here, and, you know, it's a nice looking place, but, not exactly too keen on staying here. Again, no offense, guys. It is a very nice town, it's unique, and I like it, but yeah, I'm not too keen on being mini, I gotta say. If only because I dread the parts that come later. Ooh, and we got a pretty good list of spells, mostly black magic, but we have that arrow on there, which I think is kinda useless at this point, actually. I mean, not like for the whole game or anything, because why would it be useless? And oh yeah, I was right, it's only worth 1 gil, so yeah, a lot of good that did me. But anyway, yeah, Arrow, of course, isn't useless for the whole game or anything, but we're not going to see any air enemies for at least a little while longer. Can't say how long, but, you know, it's not going to be forever, but not the most useful thing for these mini-segments. Okay, yes, I was right. Gnomish Bread is the thing that lets you see the map, because the Sight spell is a white magic spell that allows you to see a map of an area, and this item shop only sells Gnomish Bread. I don't need Gnomish Bread. It's pretty useless to me. I mean, even if I weren't using maps, the dungeons in Final Fantasy III aren't overly complicated. Though, if you're getting beaten up by enemies pretty badly, you might need a map just so you know where to go, so you don't get lost. Because if you get beaten up by enemies, it's just gonna get worse as you go through the dungeon. They're gonna batter you pretty badly. But to be fair, at that point you probably should grind a little bit. Now, to be fair, Final Fantasy III doesn't exactly require grinding usually. I say that, and the last thing I did while playing this game was grind, because I need a very specific set of job, but that's gonna be in quite a while, so we don't have to talk about that, but yeah, like most Final Fantasy games, grinding isn't exactly a necessity, it's just something you might want to do. Though Final Fantasies 5 and 8 are a better example of that, because sometimes I do feel like I'm a little underleveled in this game, even while fighting all the enemies, so yeah, 5's a good example because you never need to grind, but sometimes those jobs are just, oh, they're so tempting to get more AP in those, and Final Fantasy 8's, I have to admit, draw grinding is kind of enticing to me for some reason. I mean, to anybody else it should be tedious, but I kinda like it. Plus, it allows you to unlock great power and destroy everything, so I don't mind it. So this Dr. Shelko guy is apparently a pretty good doctor. I mean, he's the only doctor, which isn't good because he was sick and he couldn't figure out that you needed an antidote to cure him. Or at least nobody else could. Maybe he was saying that he needed an antidote. Guys, could you get me an antidote to cure me of this poison? Oh, what's an antidote? There are some nearby. You can just go buy them or something. I don't know how to do that. Well, this certainly was a town, and some sort of plot. Nah, I won't even call it a plot. It's a side thing. Well, not a side thing either. It's an event that happened, I'll go with that. Oh boy, and we draw ever closer to Toza's Tunnel. The first of a few areas in this game that I absolutely despise just on a gameplay level. Because the thing is, we are minied. The enemies, technically speaking, are not. I mean, they're about our size, but yeah, these these goofy-looking guys named Dark Faces are not minied. So that means our physical jobs are completely useless because they do only 1 damage. If you get any more than that, I don't even know what to tell you. You are some sort of wizard. Not literally, because then you'd be doing good damage. On the bright side, Desch is here to cast Thundara. I'm pretty sure he's smart enough to not use his sword when he's minied. I don't remember that ever happening to me. Oh wow, I did 0 damage. But yeah, this is the reason I don't like this. Because the game forces you to use mages. More specifically, you're forced to use a white or red mage in addition to other mages, because otherwise you can't use the mini spell in the first place to move on. And I do not like that at all. Final Fantasy V is a very good game because classes, of course, are very helpful, as the 5-job Fiesta has shown. Things can be pretty tough if you don't have a solid class setup or anything, or even a basic one, really. But you're never required to use any class. Here, no, you have to use mages. And trust me, when I was first playing this game, I had so much trouble because William was a white mage. As I said before, I thought having a healer was a better idea than having a guy using dark magic, but no, black magic is a lot more useful because while there aren't too many of these segments, They are some of the worst, and Dante for me has always been a red mage. But the thing is, a red mage can't really handle fighting guys on his own. I mean, I guess technically speaking a white mage does have arrow, but it doesn't really do all that much to the enemies. There are a few solutions to this, after all. You might have noticed that I've been using rods as William. You can use them, and they do have the same effect as a basic spell, so that's pretty good. And another good thing is, that segment's actually pretty short. We're normal size now. So this is Viking's Cove, which is another sort of town. I mean, it's more of a cave than a town, but hey, it serves as a town. So let's see what this place's problem is. Anybody sick? I can handle that. Okay, this is actually significantly more dangerous. Oh boy, oh geez. Does the dragon need an antidote? 'Cause again, I've got that one covered. Oh well, ooh, Spark Dagger, that's actually a really good weapon. I don't think I equip things right now, which is a good idea, because it really wouldn't do me much good, because I think this status screen still shows me as not having any power whatsoever, because I'm mini, because I want to sleep off the mini. Cough cough, possible spoilers, sleeping does not remove mini. Or the Toad spell, which is something similar, but we haven't seen Toad yet, so I won't talk about it too much. But either way, though, yeah, when I go to sleep here, the mini spell's not going to be removed. Whoops, thought it was when I was playing this, but I learned the, not really hard way, but the way that made me spend a few more gil than I wanted to way. It's not my favorite way, to be honest. I slept like a very, very tiny log. It was more of a splinter, to be honest. Ah well. To be fair, I do only have the 1 MP, so... I mean, I couldn't unmini anyway without any sort of special item. Right here we have, of course, somebody who sells the mini spell amongst other magic. Because guess what? We're going to be using the mini spell again fairly soon. Oh, you thought it would just be for Toza's Tunnel? Oh, you're silly. But I appreciate your naivete, and I wish I had it myself. There are a few hidden items here and there, and they are pretty good. You're not a hidden item, you're just some dude. What do we got down here? I don't actually remember this. Viking Axe! Ooh, that'll be very good. Yeah, that's great. I want to open that other chest. You could say but. That's not a swear. Alright, the Viking Axe is very good, and of course Ayla will be equipping that later. That is a revival spring. Of course, they don't have an HP MP spring because that would cut into their in profits. And by cut in, I mean basically remove, because all you'd need to know is that there is a spring that could heal you, and you'd never need to use a bed again. And one more hidden area over here, if we walk through the void. Thundara, ooh, very good spell. We'll be needing that. Fyra and Blizzara, very nice. So yeah, we got the Aura spells. William's going to want those for certain. And... the boss is down there. Well, I'm sure we'll have to talk to him to progress in the story. So why don't we do just that? See, I wear different clothes, so I'm the boss, see? Yeah, I don't really have a good track record with defeating dragons, but I really need that boat. Maybe there's some way to compromise, get the boat without necessarily defeating the dragon. After all, he does sound like he's a little angry about something, and the game is heavily implying that I should check out this Nepto temple, so, I suppose, next time on Final Fantasy III, since we have to take... Don't know what the point of that was. Since we have to take care of this Nepto dragon guy, we should find a way to do that. So we'll be exploring the Nepto temple.